Hello everyone, I'm Dan Stapleton, and this is our review discussion for XCOM 2. Here is Vincent Janito,
Heyo.
Mitch Dyer,
hello,
and Destin Legary.
Hi everybody.
What we're talking about right now is whether or not XCOM 2 is a good place for new players who have never played XCOM before. Should they start with XCOM 2, or should they go back and play a previous one? I'm gonna weigh in first. I'm gonna say yes, it's absolutely a great place to start. You don't need to know what happens in the first one, because in the official canon, you lost.
The canon is you played XCOM, you didn't win.
Yep. and you lost quickly. Yeah. So there's not really a whole lot you need to know. It's all like the story is all conveyed to you, regardless of whether you've played it or not. If you know the previous stuff, great. If you don't, it works just as well.
Yeah, they do a lot of really strong world building in XCOM 2 that I think Enemy Unknown was missing. They're a lot better at communicating what's going on, who these aliens are, why it's important that they're bad, and then what XCOM is going to do about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Mitch, you didn't play a whole lot of Enemy Unknown, did you?
No, I had the canonical playthrough where I played and was instantly just annihilated by every alien I ever encountered. But I played enough to get the hang of it and learn oh, this is cool. I like these systems. I like customization. I like earning tech and researching and all this cool stuff. And seeing that evolve in XCOM 2, that is one of my favorite things about it, is just learning all these new tech and finding this loot and all this extra stuff. It's a lot of the stuff I liked about XCOM, but done better, and in a world that I think is more interesting. It's visually better. It's just, as most sequels are, it improves on a lot of the stuff it did well.
How about you, Destin?
I definitely think that people should try out this XCOM. I played the Enemy Unknown game a little bit, not that much. So basically, I'm coming in with fresh eyes, and I'm kind of learning as I go. But I'm just having a great time, naming characters after friends, and giving them goofy biographies, and stuff like that. And it makes you tied to the characters. We were talking a little bit about this before, but you get that investment into each of the characters that you've named, and it's easy enough to do. It's really intuitive, so new players can do that. And also the gameplay itself, it's just fun. You pick it up pretty quickly, and it doesn't do too much hand-holding. You kind of figure it out as you go, and you need to learn it.
Those first two missions are very, very scripted.
They give you the basics. Yeah, they give you the basics.
Those characters are going to die no matter what. You're going to get it.
Yeah. How about you, Vince? Do you think it's a good or a bad place to start for a new player?
Well, that's the thing, is that in this franchise, and I think maybe you would agree, I don't think there's necessarily a bad place to start. I mean, like you said, they don't necessarily story-wise have a whole lot to do with one. I mean, they do, obviously. Enemy Unknown does lead directly and canonically to XCOM 2, so it's not like they're totally unconnected, but the plot isn't something. There's not a whole lot of intricacies there that you need to be aware of.
Aliens invade.
Right, and that's pretty much it. From a gameplay standpoint, I mean, I would say that I think it's fair to say that Enemy Unknown was the most streamlined of all the XCOM games. I think that XCOM 2 built on that foundation and made it a little bit more complex, maybe not as much as the original UFO Defense.
A different kind of complexity. And I see where you're going here, and I totally agree that going back to Enemy Unknown for a new player might be easier to wrap your head around,
right? Because
there is less going on. It's a much more simple game. You don't have to worry as much about armor or
they rapidly introduce a lot of new stuff to you in XCOM 2. You're thinking more about the kind of technology you're going to research, the weapons you're going to get, the enemies you're encountering, different kinds of enemy combos that are patrolling together, and how they interact with you and each other, and that kind of stuff. So it can be a little overwhelming.
I kind of like that, though. I mean, there's a lot there to figure out and a lot to analyze. And as a new player, I'm like, ooh, I want to figure out how to use the best armor. And I'm talking to you at work. I'm looking at our wikis on IGN. Just for the best strategy.
Dude, I learned so much from our wiki.
Aspect.
IGN.com/wiki/XCOM2 is a good place to be, because when I learned that you could just throw a grenade on a roof and topple a turret without having to fight, amazing. Actual game changer.
But the thing about it is, there's a lot of depth there, but it can be overwhelming for a new player. So if you're just starting out, picking up Enemy Unknown right now is dirt cheap right now.
It's $5 on iPad too if you want to
play.
It's
really good on a 6S. I play it on 6S all the time. But it's not a bad way to get your feet wet.
Sure,
totally.
But XCOM 2 I think is the superior game in terms of the depth of options you have.
Yeah, definitely the superior game. And the other thing about it too is that, like, you know, so when we say a new player, right, are we talking new to XCOM or new to turn-based tactics? I feel like if you're totally new to turn-based tactics, just about any good turn-based tactical game worth its salt is going to be at least a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean,
like, you might as well jump in.
You could bounce between this and like Fire Emblem Fates pretty easily. I think if this is your jam. But if you're like me and a giant baby and bad at strategy, and you're like, I'm a genius, I think I'm a tactical god, and the game's like, nah, man,
You're not.
you're an idiot and you're dead. Like, do not be ashamed to save scum. Do not be ashamed to play on easy. Normal is really hard. Normal will challenge you in a way that most games will not. And a lot of the time it's your fault, and a lot of the time it's RNG, and it's hard to feel bad about sometimes, and hard to feel bad about it other times, or hard to feel good about it sometimes. It's like, it is a very emotionally up and down kind of game. So do not be afraid to like make it the kind of game that you want it to be.
And also to not look at it as always where if you failed the mission that you as a player have failed, or don't, like, if you're the kind of person who's going to look at every soldier death, every mission failed, or even every campaign
I do not fail missions.
you know, like,
I do
as
not
a failure,
fail missions.
then you're going to be miserable. You're going to be really
Yes,
unhappy. You know?
I am Vince.
well, you can save frequently, and the way I think about it is like, okay, I screwed up that time, but I learned this thing about the game.
Yeah.
Now I can load my save or go back a little bit and start from that point and be like, okay, so I know this, this, and this now. I'm able to move forward with that knowledge and learn something new about XCOM 2 and about the strategy.
So the message here, I think, is you should absolutely try it, but don't take it personally when you get screwed over.
Yeah.
So for more on XCOM 2 and a little more of our review discussion, come back to IGN.